What's going on? Your boy Yo Scruggs back at it. Let's talk about it. If you've been following the news, this has made national news. The big story that happened recently, right here in Brooklyn, New York City. We had a guy let off some smoke bombs and also shot. I believe the total was 10 people. I could have had some of these numbers wrong. I don't have the exact figures. I believe 10 people were shot, and I think it said like 23 people maybe were injured at the in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, 36th Street off the N train. And I know that stop very well because I used to work right off of that stop. And I have a old friend of mine used to live off that stop. So I know that stop extremely well. So when I seen what was going on, first of all, it was crazy enough that that was happening. But when I seen that it was a location that I was familiar with, it hit extra close to home for me because I could have, and even going other places now, I still go by that stop sometimes on the N train. So I was thinking like, damn, that I easily could have been one of them people that was on that train that day. So first of all, I just want to say, hope everybody was in that situation. Hopefully they fully recover and everything gets better. Now, some of the details coming out, I don't know how accurate these details are. You don't know everything for sure. It's a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation going on. But they're saying the cameras weren't working inside that train station, inside that train, and they also saying some of the police officers that was down there, their walkie-talkies weren't working, which leads me to think with all the money MTA got, that's the train and bus system here in New York is called MTA. With all the money they got, how are their cameras not working? How's the cops walkie-talkie not working on a day when all this happens? And I don't want to get into conspiracies, but it do make me think about like a lot of stuff that came out around 9/11. Like of all days when something tragic happened, these other things were happening on that same day that don't usually happen. Now the other side of that could be maybe those cameras been not working and that walkie-talkie been not working, and they just hoping nothing happens bad, so it don't come up. But that wouldn't make sense either because we got a new mayor, and one of the big things going on here in New York is people safety on the train. You have people getting beat up, you have homeless people getting shot, you have people getting pushed on the track. So you would think, and this has been a big topic, I say, for the last 5 months or whatever. But it's also always a big topic in New York because so many people here use MTA, use the trains, one of the most busy train systems in the world. So you would think that with it being one of the most busy train systems in the world, in a major city like New York, and with all the money they have, you would think, for the most part, the technology, the cameras and everything, cops walkie-talkies will be working. Now, granted, it could just be a coincidence. Maybe this just happened in a time where these things weren't working. It's just an unfortunate coincidence. The other theories crossed my mind, and some other people I'm talking to up here, as maybe somebody, maybe it was a part, maybe he wasn't acting alone. Maybe somebody else was involved. Somebody that maybe had. I'm trying to be careful with what I say. Maybe somebody on the inside also was in cahoots with him, working with him, so that this could be pulled off without the cameras being there and the walkie-talkies working. I'm not sure. Who knows? We'll probably never know. But it makes me think about, as much as I take the train here, and it's crazy because growing up in Philly, I pretty much drove everywhere. I seldom took SEPTA, which is the train bus system in Philly. I drove for the most part of my life. I think I had a car since I was 19, but here in New York, since I sold my car, a few years ago, and been using MTA and Uber mostly. I actually have taken the train way more, in 7 years in New York than I did the rest of my life in Philly. And for the most part, and I'm on the train all times of day, morning, middle of the day, evening, 2, 3 in the morning, and for the most part, I don't want to say safe, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm in danger sometimes. Now maybe that's just me being naive, but at the same time, I'm also aware of my surroundings, and I don't sleep on it. I don't take for granted that something can happen on that train, because plenty of this stuff do happen on those trains, and just in New York in general, like you got with any major city. So I can't say I've ever felt like, I mean, there's been times where I've had situations where I felt like uneasy, but I can't say as a whole I usually feel nervous or scared on the train. And maybe part of it is after you live in New York for a while, or if you're born here, you kind of just get used to like how much crazy stuff goes on those trains, buses, or whatever. But I wonder how this is going to affect it. Like I said, we got a new mayor. And this train situation, this train safety was already an issue even before this happened. So I just wonder how this is going to affect everything. As far as the guy that did it, it's crazy that they're saying one of his addresses was in Philly, where I'm from, and this happened here in Brooklyn, where I live now. So I was like, man, that's a crazy coincidence, that those two things were there. But I wonder, I know they said he had a YouTube page, and you know, he had spoke about wanting to do damage to people, wanting to hurt people, things of that nature. Um, so I didn't look at his videos. Truthfully, I don't want to look at the videos of nobody that did something like that. I got enough anxiety and trauma going on in my own life and out in this world, especially the last couple of years with everything we've been through in this world. So I don't really want to go digging for it to see what he was talking about. But it just goes to show, mental health. It's a lot of people out here that that aren't right in the head, and it's so easy to get a gun nowadays. Nowadays, it's so easy to travel from city to city, place to place, and it makes you realize how vulnerable the world is. Most of us are, and the things that are going on in this world. So, best thing I can say, if you're in New York or if you're anywhere, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your environment. I will say I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety, really over the past few years. It's been crazy, and I think even myself, I kind of been reluctant, but I think even myself, I'm gonna get up and go talk to a therapist, and just to make sure, because I think we sometimes, especially as men, sometimes we feel like, nah, anything you're going through, you can handle it yourself. But I'm thinking, with everything going on in this world, maybe even I'll go talk to a therapist just to see if they can help any. And because you don't want to be somebody that's going through something, and you get to that breaking point and you go crazy. You know what I mean? You do something extreme. Um, Everybody don't have access to that. Fortunately, I have health insurance, so I'm like, what, just something. I got health insurance that covers it, so let me do it. And I think this incident was like something that made me really go, yeah, let me do that, just to even if I felt like I ain't need the help, is covered, so why not do it? And I would advise that to anybody else out there. If you're dealing with something, if you got access to a therapist, I know it's expensive if you don't have health insurance, but check free clinics, check online. Sometimes they have free ones you would do, virtually through Zoom or whatever. But this is just another situation. There's so many shootings and killings and senseless violence going on in this world. It's one thing to do violence against somebody that you have a personal incident with. That's still bad. But it's another thing when you're literally just doing violence and extreme things to just random people. So let me know what you think about this whole situation that happened on the train, and what can we do to, maybe you're never going to be able to prevent all these situations, but maybe some things we can do to help, slow down some of these incidents that are going on in this world. Leave a comment, leave a message, let me know what you think. Leave a like, boy, Scruggs. Peace. Stay safe out there.